So today I'll be doing a video discussing the true Natsu and why Natsu is going to have to reveal his true form to us, because with some of the recent events that have happened in Fairy Tail, Natsu is starting to finally show his true nature, and it's all because of the help of his stepbrother. Now, with the recent chapter of Fairy Tail, we see that Natsu, he's finally able to defeat Mercuphobia, and this is a huge step, but we can't really look at this and be like, oh my gosh, Natsu's super overpowered, because we have to remember Mercuphobia, he was not at full strength. We know that he was still underneath the control of Toka, and Ignia himself has confirmed that I don't believe he was even using half of his power. So Natsu, he was able to finally defeat Mercuphobia, but Mercuphobia was obviously handicapped, and the way how Natsu defeated Mercuphobia was just amazing. I mean, we see him actually get to manifest his black flames, these new flames that he got from Ignia, and we literally see him shoot a Kamehameha. Yes, Natsu, he went to go train with Mr. Roshi, and he basically learned the Kamehameha technique that quickly, and we see that it was actually able to take out Mercuphobia. And Natsu, the main thing that was important to look at from this fight is that even though he was being controlled by the flames, and I'll get into that later on in the video because that's some hype stuff, but even though he was still being controlled by the flames, we see that he still tried to get his friends involved. He still tried to use the power of friendship, even though he already had Mercuphobia overwhelmed. So this just goes to show you that the Natsu versus Mercuphobia fight, it was something amazing. Even though Mercuphobia wasn't at full power, it was still pretty dope to see. And speaking of full power, we see that the others are actually afraid of Natsu legitimately. Yes, at first with Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 21, we saw that it was only Lucy who was somewhat afraid of Natsu's flames, but now it's everyone who's afraid of Natsu's flames. We see that Gray and Urza and Happy, they're all sitting there just dumbfounded to see how crazy Natsu has gone. And this is just crazy to think, because this just goes to show you how strong Natsu has become. Because even though there was a lot of people that said that Lucy didn't see Natsu's E&D form, she was still able to feel the magic and feel the the energy of the demon power. That's why she ended up getting affected. But even then, she still wasn't scared. That's what people were talking about when they said that Lucy, this is the first time her being afraid of Natsu. She opened up the book of E&D, went through all of that, and still wasn't scared. But the fact that she's seeing Natsu like this for the first time and now she's scared, that's what makes everybody freak out. Because we've never seen Natsu actually lose control like this. Like, we've seen Natsu get some demonic power-ups and stuff, but this is the first time we've actually seen Natsu like snap and actually become like, enraged and just lose his mind. But the number one thing that gotta tip my hat off to Hiro Mashima is the connection between Natsu and Zeref. Because yes, even to this day, Hiro Mashima is still tying in the relationship, because now we know that both of the brothers, they both have tasted the power of gods, and we've seen what the power of godhood does to both of them. We saw that Zeref, once he finally got cursed by the gods, he basically had a split personality. He was never the same after that. Whereas Natsu, once he finally tasted like a slight power of the gods, he ended up losing control. He ended up becoming obsessed with strength and power. So it's dope seeing how both of the brothers reacted once they did experience the god energy, the god power. And I think it's a little bit of homage to Zeref. Let's shout out to Zeref right quick, because we know he was one of the first characters to get introduced and actually use the whole godly stuff. So the fact that now Natsu is going down this godly path, I think it's dope. And shout out to Zeref, because he was still one of my favorite characters. And the most hyped up thing about this chapter is we see while Natsu is trying to get his friends to join along with the fight, he's still focused on his battle with Ignia. Yes, Natsu, he still wants to fight one-on-one with Ignia. This shows a lot about his character, because Ignia is already confirmed to be millions of times stronger than Natsu. Hell, Natsu is using his power in order to fight with the water dragon gods. So that goes to show you how strong Ignia is, but Natsu is still only thinking about fighting him one-on-one. So this is a very big case for Natsu's character, because it shows you how much he's going to have to train and develop in order to surpass Ignia. Because even if Natsu did fight him with the power that Ignia gave him, Ignia would just wash him, scrape him away. So I definitely do think that because Natsu is still focused on his fight versus Ignia, this is huge for his character because it shows you that he's not going to back down from a challenge, even if it is the fire dragon god, aka the son of Igneal. And another thing that I do like about this situation is that it's very reminiscent to the last arc in Fairy Tail, where Natsu had to make the decision between being a demon and a dragon. Now it seems like that Natsu is going to have to make the choice between being a dragon or a god, or a human and a dragon, whichever type of energy they want to classify it as, because we know that they're still saying it's like the energies of the fire dragon god. But I don't know, I don't think that they're going to use the whole dragon concept like that over and over again. But we know that he is going to have to make the decision between being a human and a dragon, and this is very big news because Natsu, we know how much he loves dragons. Yes, Igneal is a dragon. He's pretty much been raised by a dragon, and we know he's made many dragon friends like Atlas Flame and so many other people. And on top of that, we now know that Ignia is introducing a whole new concept to the dragons with his family side. So I definitely do have to say that Natsu, there's a lot of connections that he has with dragons, whereas he didn't really have too many connections with demons. That's why it was kind of easy for him to make the choice last time. But we also know that Natsu, if there's one thing we know about him, is that he does not want to give up his friends. And I definitely do think that he will choose, or it will be a hard choice for him to pick between being a human and a dragon, just because we know that Natsu, he loves both of these sides of the spectrum very much. He was raised by dragons. He's a dragon slayer. He loves everything about dragons, but at the same time, all his friends are humans. So very, very good choice by Hiro Mashima to bring up the whole deciding factor of which side will he choose. And we see that the dragon side of Natsu, that's just what I'm going to call him, because we see once he's obtained the dragon flames, he became a lot more sick. But we see that he basically became obsessed with power. Yes, very similar to how Irene was when she first got a taste of the dragonhood. We see that Natsu, he's kind of going through the same thing, and we see that he's even upset at the fact that Mercuphobia didn't last longer. Yes, that is how crazy Natsu has gotten. He has gotten that OP, whereas he wants to keep on fighting these god level people, and that's obviously because of Ignia's energy. So we can already see the direct impact that Ignia is having on Natsu and his dragon side. And the thing I like about this too is that while it is like obviously a god triggering, like the god source triggering Natsu's energy, it's not necessarily the same as Zeref. Whereas Zeref lost control and he didn't really like his separate personality, Natsu, his like new dragon personality is kind of the same to him. Like, it's not like he's attacking his friends or his loved ones. Like, we see that he's still somewhat in control. It's just that he's more obsessed with power. It's just he wants to burn everything this time, because we see it. He was saying, yo, Mercuphobia, I don't even want his body remaining. I just want it to be straight ash. So we see that Natsu, he still retained a side of himself, even though he is way more crazier. And like I said, one of the most important parts was seeing Natsu, even though he still was super overpowered and he had way more than enough power to defeat Mercuphobia, the human side in him still called on his friends' support, while pretty much they couldn't really do anything to Mercuphobia. Let's be honest, like Urza, Gray, they weren't doing anything to Mercuphobia, but Natsu, he had to boost their moral support because they're his friends and he wanted them right next to him. So that just goes to show you that the human side in Natsu was still showing and he was still fighting. But I know some of you guys must be thinking, okay, Underrated Mage, which one are you going to pick with when it comes to the true Natsu? Which side do you think he's going to pick? And me personally, I do believe that Natsu will pick his dragon side. Yes, I do believe that the true Natsu will side with dragons, because if you think about it, Natsu, his whole character is basically revolving around dragons. Like, we know that the story started off, he wanted to find Igneal, and then we know all the trouble that he's went through to find Igneal. We know that he's met so many different dragon slayers through the journey. We know that he's met Acnologia, one of the biggest dragon slayers, one of the most iconic dragon slayers in history. So Natsu, he has a lot of history with dragons and with the dragon side of the fairy tale world. So I definitely do think that it wouldn't be too far-fetched if Natsu did actually choose to become like the next dragon king, just because we know that the true Natsu, he actually does care about dragons. Now, I'm not saying that he would just forget all about his friends. I'm not saying that he would just completely discard them. No. But I'm saying that the true Natsu, he wants to obtain that level of power that Ignia's at. but at the same time he wants to keep his friends. So I definitely do think that this will be a huge point for Natsu's character. But the true Natsu, deep down, he will have to take the powers, the dragon's power, just so that he can protect his friends. Because like Ignia said, in order to protect the ones that you want close to you, you're going to need power, or else they'll end up getting killed off. And Natsu, he understands that better than anybody else. So I definitely do think that the true Natsu, he will choose his dragon side just so that he can protect his human side and his friends along the way. Comment what you guys think down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.